The next day at school, Yona walks in with her escort, catching everyone's attention, including our boys who are curious to see them back after such a long time. Yona suddenly starts looking at them with a direct gaze, which makes Youngchan feel uneasy. She approaches him and simply asks if Jin isn't in school today. Youngchan, looking around for Jin, explains that he was just here, but Jaehyung explains that he just got called to the office a few minutes ago. As Yona and her escort, Seokju, settle into their seats, her escort reveals that the chairman is at the school right now. Yona is surprised to hear that her grandfather is at the school, and wonders why he didn't inform her of his visit, and if Jin might have gone to meet him in the office. In the office, we finally meet the old man we've been hearing so much about. He's thrilled to finally meet our boy in person, especially since our boy had previously turned down a meeting, so he came by himself to thank him for saving Yona. Our boy responds that there's no need for thanks. He was just trying to rescue his sister, and Yona happened to be there too. The old man acknowledges that he knows, but he still wanted to express his gratitude for saving his granddaughter and apologize for involving his sister. Our boy clears things up again, letting the old man know that he doesn't need to worry about that since Yona has already apologized. The old man stays silent after hearing this, and our boy starts to head into the classroom. That's when Grandpa finally asks if he will become Yona's bodyguard. Not surprisingly, he flatly refuses and makes it clear that this isn't something an average teenager like him can handle. The old man reminds our boy that an average teenager couldn't really handle a unit of kidnappers made up of former Special Forces soldiers either. Jin then points out that Yona already has an internal security team guarding her 24/7. The old man agrees but says that a security team can't be with her at school, and besides, she wouldn't be able to live normally with a team trailing her all the time. He explains that Seokju was in charge of her security, but the recent incident made him realize he isn't the right person to protect her, so he's thinking of giving the job to our boy. Jin starts to walk away again, saying he can't help. The old man goes quiet for a moment, and then says he wasn't just here to thank him for saving Yona. He also wanted to thank him for what he did 3 years ago. As soon as our boy hears this, he freezes and quickly turns back toward the old man. The old man keeps going with his thanks, saying he's wanted to express his gratitude for a long time, because without our boy's efforts, he wouldn't have had the chance to see his son before he passed away. It's clear that Jin remembers what the old man is talking about, but he stays nonchalant, saying it was just another job. The old man insists it was a dangerous job that no one else would take on. Thanks to our boy's success in the mission, he was able to see his son again, and his son spoke about Jin often. The old man reveals that his son was worried and asked him to find out why our boy had become a mercenary. So, the old man tried to track him down but couldn't find any leads. Now, as fate would have it, they're face to face, and he adds that Yona is his daughter. Jin's mind quickly flashes back to the past, recalling the man mentioning that he had a daughter around his age. Still, Jin makes it clear that he can't be Yona's bodyguard. However, he adds that he won't turn a blind eye if something happens to her. The old man is a bit taken aback but then smiles and says that would be more than enough. He then adds that there's one more thing he'd like to request. He points out that he would like to hear Jin's thoughts on the security team at SW. Jin asks what he means, and the old man explains that SW's security team is part of a long-standing and proud tradition, maybe too proud for their own good. They believe that Yona's recent kidnapping would have been contained even without Jin's help. However, as SW continues to expand, the threats are growing, and their security division is lacking in innovation. The old man wants Jin's honest assessment of their skills, and it will be a paid assignment, of course. Jin lets out a sigh, feeling like all of this is just a drag. He then finally heads back into his classroom. As soon as he enters, Yona greets him, but he clearly ignores her and walks to his seat as the teacher starts the class for the day. Jin sits quietly in his chair, thinking about the old man's words. He realizes that Yona's father must have died since the old man mentioned he'd seen his son before he passed away. The scene then cuts back to the past. We see Jin as a mercenary, with all the site workers gathered around eating. Jin is munching on some kind of food bar when a voice calls out to him, asking how a kid like him ended up working as a mercenary. It's clear this man is Yona's father, and after he sees our boy's face, he comments that he didn't realize Jin was so young. Jin quickly covers his face and starts to walk away, but the man offers him his platter full of delicious and appetizing food. He tells Jin to throw away his trash and eat this instead, saying that what he eats really matters at his age. Meanwhile, the other mercenaries chat about how their new client seems really wealthy and explain how they're building roads, a school, and a clinic in the town they're all stationed in. As they chat, Jin listens quietly. While he's on guard duty, the man walks up to him again, offering him a chocolate bar. Jin just looks away. Later that night, the man offers him food once more, but Jin turns away again. On a particularly rainy day, the man brings an umbrella and coat, but Jin refuses them as well. One day, as Jin is packing up his stuff to leave, the same man approaches him again. He says he'll miss having Jin around and invites him to stop by if he can since they'll be there for at least another month. The man then tosses a bag to Jin, explaining that he's packed some snacks and basic medical supplies inside. Finally, Jin speaks up and asks why he's giving him all this. The question catches the man off guard, and he's surprised to hear Jin speak Korean. He adds that he tried speaking in Jin's native language and in English before, but didn't get a response. The man explains that he's giving these things because he has a daughter around Jin's age, and he reminds him of her, so he can't help but worry. Later, we found ourselves in a rundown place where conflict is ongoing. We then see Jin with his fellow mercenary. His fellow informs him that the town where Jin was stationed as a guard has been taken over by a resistance group. He explains that they were waiting for the foreigners to finish their construction so they could take over the buildings, and most of the people at the site had been killed. Jin is jolted out of his flashback by the sudden ringing of the bell, and he notices Yona calling out to him, asking if he's free right now. A while later, they're in the lounging area, where Seokju is bowing his head in respect and offering a late apology in person. Jin tells him there's no need for that, as he understands the reason behind his actions. Yona then says she's pretty sure Jin will deny it, and explains that Grandpa asked her to invite him on his behalf. Jin agrees without hesitation, leaving Yona quite puzzled to see that he actually agrees without protest for the first time. The scene then shifts to Jie, who is gritting her teeth in frustration. She's fuming mad that the higher-ups aren't releasing Jin's true identity. Just then, her manager enters and mentions that the same student has arrived, which shocks Jie a little.